The federal government has entered uncharted territory. The Office of Management and Budget says substantial layoffs have begun. Mass firings of federal employees right in the middle of a government shutdown. For decades, shutdowns meant furloughs and back pay. But this time, the Trump administration is breaking precedent, moving to permanently eliminate positions while funding has lapsed. The federal government has entered uncharted territory. The Office of Management and Budget says substantial layoffs have begun. Mass firings of federal employees right in the middle of a government shutdown. For decades, shutdowns meant furloughs and back pay. But this time, the Trump administration is breaking precedent, moving to permanently eliminate positions while funding has lapsed. Just before the shutdown, OMB directed every agency to draft reduction-in-force plans for programs that lacked alternative funding or conflicted with presidential priorities. On October 10, 2025, OMB Director Russ Vought posted a brief message: RIFs have begun. Moments later, the White House confirmed the layoffs were, quote, substantial. President Trump told reporters that a lot of employees have received notices and blamed congressional Democrats for the stalemate that caused the shutdown. According to filings by the Justice Department, at least 7 major federal agencies have already issued layoff notices. Commerce Department, 315 employees; Education Department, 466; Energy Department, 187; Health and Human Services, 1,100; 1,200; Housing and Urban Development, 442; Homeland Security, 176; Treasury Department, 1,446. The Environmental Protection Agency has sent intent to RIF warnings to another 20-30 employees, with larger cuts under review. That's more than 4,000 confirmed layoffs so far. Not counting additional reductions, other agencies are still evaluating. These RIFs reach deep into programs millions of Americans depend on. One Health and Human Services, HHS. Layoffs across multiple divisions could slow Medicare and Medicaid processing, public health grants, and regulatory reviews of drugs and devices. 2. Treasury and the IRS. RIFs are targeting information technology employees. The IRS warns that losing thousands of IT specialists may jeopardize preparations for the next tax filing season, meaning delayed refunds, slower cybersecurity updates, and limited online services. 3. Education Department. With nearly half its workforce already gone since 2021, additional cuts threaten student aid disbursements, Pell Grant servicing, and civil rights enforcement in schools. 4. HUD, Housing and Urban Development. Reduced staffing could stall affordable housing grants, rental assistance programs, and community development block grants. 5. Homeland Security, CISA. Cybersecurity operations are scaling back while the shutdown continues. The administration says it's getting CISA back on mission, but critics warn that cutting cyber staff during global threat spikes leaves infrastructure exposed. 6. EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. Environmental groups say EPA scientists and inspectors are being pushed out, reducing oversight of air and water safety nationwide. The American Federation of Government Employees has filed a lawsuit, arguing that layoffs during a shutdown violate both the Anti-Deficiency Act and the Administrative Procedure Act. They say the administration is using the shutdown as a pretext to eliminate civil servants it disagrees with. AFGE President Everett Kelly called it illegal, unprecedented, and an abuse of power. Democratic lawmakers, including Senator Patty Murray of Washington and Representative Don Beyer of Virginia, condemned the move, saying it inflicts more pain on the American people and violates criminal statutes. At the IRS, Chief Operating Officer Dottie Romo confirmed that affected employees will be separated by December 9th. The agency has already lost about 25% of its workforce through early retirements and buyouts, leaving it dependent on 1960s-era legacy systems. At HUD, union officials say they were given no advance notice of the layoffs. HUD claims the cuts align programs with the administration's priorities, but critics argue the process sidesteps congressional oversight. The EPA's Environmental Protection Network warned that each lost scientist or inspector means less protection for the nation's air and water. Civil servants aren't bargaining chips, the group said, calling the firings part of a piece-by-piece dismantling of the agency. Historically, reductions in force happen when budgets are finalized, not when the government is shut down. By pushing RIFs now, the administration has effectively made the shutdown itself a tool for reshaping the federal workforce. The Office of Personnel Management even updated guidance to allow RIFs during a lapse in appropriations, something experts say reverses 50 years of precedent. As agencies downsize, the ripple effects will reach taxpayers, patients, students, and families who rely on federal services every day. From delayed tax refunds to slower Medicare claims, fewer housing vouchers, and reduced environmental enforcement, the practical cost of these layoffs may last long after the shutdown ends. For millions of Americans, the question now isn't when the government will reopen, but how much of it will still be there when it does.